Good afternoon, good afternoon, afternoon, and happy Monday. Um, you ever wonder why there seems to be gaps in time in your past, in some parts of your past, and then in other times you can sort of remember things as clear as it was yesterday? Well, I'll tell you, it's all in the way your mind, your unconscious mind processes memories. And today I want to talk a little bit about that. So to this point, we've talked about the role of the unconscious mind. We've defined a little bit about the difference between the unconscious and the conscious mind. And we've even talked a little bit about the unconscious mind and how it processes and is in the domain of emotions and how it runs the body, it preserves the body. So we're moving on. I'm stacking and building upon the knowledge that we talked about that we've been talking about the unconscious mind, the way it processes things so that you can better understand why you do what you do and gives you access to be able to begin to shift your unconscious behavior and bring to consciousness the things that you want to be doing to forward your life, your relationships, your business, and your career. So for those of you who don't know by now, I'm Dr. Maisha, and not only am I a business and entrepreneur coach for physicians and medical professionals, I also am a master NLP and hypnosis practitioner and trainer. And I help docs and medical professionals and high performing professionals undo their old conditioning and remap their minds so that they can achieve amazing results in their career, in your relationship, in your business, in your life. So before we jump right into today's lesson on the unconscious mind, if you listen to me live on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you get updated every time I release a video or do a live. And if you're listening to me live on Facebook, hey, comment, let me know you're here. Let me know you're listening. You know, I love to hear and see the comments going. And sometimes I get so into it, I don't always see them during the live broadcast. But let me know you're here because I love to see those who are benefiting from the live broadcast. So just jumping on into it, you know, one of the therapies that I do in my coaching with my clients, whether they're my medical professionals, my doctor clients, or whether they're still some of the patients that I see from time to time, is called timeline therapy. And in this process, it's a cousin of neurolinguistic programming. In this process, we eliminate negative emotions as well as limiting beliefs and disconnect negative emotional triggers at their root cause. So I wanted to share with you something that happened, and this is going to allude to the unconscious mind and its memory. So I'm in this session with this client of mine, and we started to talk about what we were going to do. And I say to her, now we're going to release anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. And she says to me, we know we're going to start with anger. And she says to me, oh, well, anger is not really a thing for me, right? So I say, great. So let's get started. And we get into this session and she begins floating above her timeline. And suddenly there's this memory that comes to her and she begins to take the learnings and recontextualize this event from back in her childhood. And as she's sharing, you know, the tears are flowing down her face and I could see her breathing had sped up a little bit. And so I just held the space for her as she emptied the basket from that past event. And then suddenly I'd see her take this deep breath and release. And I knew when she released that breath that she was complete. And so, you know, I had her come back to the present and the timeline. And it was a very interesting experience for her. And she says to me at the end, wow, I didn't even know that all that was there. I had completely forgotten about that event. Now, it wasn't a big, major event because some of the big, major traumatic events, sometimes people can remember and sometimes are repressed. But my point is that just like the unconscious mind can repress negative emotions, as we talked about a little bit last week, the unconscious mind also is responsible for repressing memories that have unresolved negative emotions, right? And so the key here is that they're unresolved. And the unresolved negative emotion can cause actual repression of the content of the memory based on the intensity of the emotion itself, right? Related to the memory and the extent to which it's unresolved. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, well, I have to have this big traumatic event for this repressed emotion, repressed memory to impact my life. But oftentimes it is not a huge event. But it is a event that if you were to think about as a 5-year-old would occur like a huge event. It would shape a decision that you would make about yourself, and then the evidence that you build that decision that you've made about yourself is completely true. So the unconscious mind has the task of repressing memories with unresolved emotion, the content of those memories for your survival. Okay, so remember from last week we talked about the one of the big prime directives of the unconscious mind is to preserve and protect the body. So the unconscious mind will repress an unresolved memory and then bring it back to be resolved when the conscious mind is ready. And it does that because if you think about it, the unconscious mind knows that it's not healthy to contain that memory and to contain those emotions in our body for long periods of time in the first place. So the unconscious mind will then present the memory to be released. The unconscious mind will then present the repressed memory for the emotions to be released and resolved, right? So that the memory and the event can bring resolution and you can release any negative emotions present, which is why I do what I do with the timeline therapy, because it does help you to release at the root cause, at the original inciting event, so that you can, it's like when you have a sweater, have you ever seen those sweaters and you have a thread poking out of the sweater and it's so tempting, that thread, right? Isn't that thread so tempting? You pull the thread and then it just like unravels the whole thing, right? You weren't intending to, but that's what it does. And that's sort of what we do in this work with timeline therapy. And that's what happens with the unconscious mind is you get that root cause event, that root cause of memory or emotion, and then you pull that thread and it dissolves. It helps to dissolve all the evidence you've built thereafter. Because I think really your unconscious mind realizes, and both your conscious and your unconscious mind realize that the negative emotions aren't really good for us. So initially it represses the memory for your survival. But when your unconscious mind really gets, as we grow, when we do our development, we do our personal development, it presents that memory. It says, okay, I think the conscious mind is now ready to resolve this for the next level of their growth and development. And so then what does it do? It presents that memory at the right time, under the right circumstances, so that you can resolve those emotions and heal from that past, whatever that past event is. So now when I said, my client said, wow, I didn't even remember that happened, it was because her unconscious mind was protecting her until her conscious mind was ready to resolve the event and release the emotion and heal. And sometimes this can happen with guidance, and sometimes it can happen spontaneously. So I'd like to even hear from you. Like, have you had an experience of a memory suddenly popping up that you had totally forgotten about, whether it was a good memory or whether it was a bad memory, but it totally popped up, you've forgotten about it, and serendipitously it pops up and allows you to even have a tender moment or a resolution of some past event or even a past relationship, right? Type in the comments. Have you had like a memory like that? Have you had that happen to you? Yes, sir. And you're welcome to share what that is. But this is why it's so important to begin to get an understanding of how the unconscious mind works and operates, because it gives you a deeper understanding into why you operate the way you do and why sometimes you come up against these same sort of internal blocks and obstacles over and over again, so that you can really release these blocks and begin creating this unimaginable future, these unimaginable results. And for some of you, learning NLP, learning things like NLP, learning things like the unconscious mind, these tools is enough to do for yourself. But some of you want to be able to unhook these invisible influences in others, in the people that you serve. And, especially as coaches, people that out there if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, you want to unlock these barriers in the people that you actually are serving. And so going deeper and actually getting trained in something like neurolinguistic programming gives you that access, not only to transforming your own life, but deeply impacting the lives of your patients, your clients, and the people around you in your life. So by now, some of you may be wondering, how can I learn more? And one of the ways you can learn more is by going to my free Rewrap Your Mind for Success online masterclass. And that's, again, it's 100% free, no obligation. And you can learn a little bit more about some of the depth of what we go into by going to drmaisha.com and then registering right from the home page. And if you want, I can drop you a direct link for your convenience. And if you want to delve more deeply into how the unconscious mind works and more deeply into those internal unconscious conversations that are slowing or just causing disruption in your life, then I have something for you. Dr. Manny and we did our mind remapping and manifestation retreat back in the beginning of this year, pre-COVID. We are doing a virtual mind remapping, virtual transformation experience, half-day retreat coming up July 18th. We are opening registration this week. As soon as that happens, I will post the link for you. But during this retreat, we're not only going to be teaching you a little bit about the inner workings of the unconscious mind, but we'll be taking you through your own hero's journey, showing you how to navigate out of the drama triangle that you might be stuck in, so that you can really regain your sense of power, control, and freedom in your life that allows you to consciously take the next step in that journey, in your life. And so as soon as we open registration for that, which is going to be later on this week, I will let you know. So stay tuned. I have another live coming up this Wednesday, so stay tuned. And I look forward to, this Thursday. And so I look forward to seeing you in the next live. Really go ahead and comment and let me know, like, what's been your experience? What's been your experience of your childhood memories and things popping up out of the blue serendipitously to either resolve things or give you tender moments? Happy Monday, Jonathan. Good to see you again. And, pop in the comments if you want to learn a little bit more about the inner workings of the unconscious mind, and just, stay tuned. Like I said, there's going to be an opportunity for you to register for our Mind Remapping 2.0 virtual transformation experience here in just a few days. So looking forward to hearing your comments, your questions. If you have any questions, post those in the comments. And looking forward to seeing you on our next Mind Remapping live, talking about the unconscious mind this Thursday. You guys have a great day today. Stay safe out there. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Namaste.